GameStop's in a major zone after ascending, retracing back to this $22.49 level and getting into another ascending profile. Is this the point we break out of this longer term resistance of this descending pattern as well as this 24.45 level? Now, kicking this analysis off on the weekly time frame, guys, we see that we got that big move up to 64.83 and we came back down. We chopped down, guys. We find this ascending support where we have just bounced off recently, guys. So it's an important level. We bounce off that ascending support, we drive back up, come back down, find that ascending support once again, try to drive back up, get higher than that last time, guys, but we ultimately top at that 35.89. And that's where we come back down after some pretty bad news. We fall down in a drastic sell-off, but we find that ascending support once again, and that's where we get that bounce, smaller retracement, and another bounce that we are currently in, guys. If you take off the drawing, see a better view here, we seem to have found a bottom at that ascending support level, and we have a sort of ascending profile on the weekly. Now, we can't deny that bad news, guys, but given that sharp sell-off, we definitely have a lot of room to the upside, especially given how nice we've held at that ascending support. If buyers can step in here and volume can start to pick up, given that volume has kind of dried up after those more recent volatile spikes up, we could be looking at a possible retracement of this big sell-off, trying to reclaim that 29 and psychological $30 level and get back in this range between 29 and 35. Now, there's no need to overanalyze the weekly, guys, as it's a small cap stock, just like AMC, BBAI, etc. It's one of those stocks that are very prone to these sharp moves up, sharp sell-offs, moves up, corrections, and phases where price doesn't really do too much, right? We got in this descending profile, this descending wedge here, guys, as price is chopping around, very volatile, but then we kind of find price start to simmer down and get tighter. So we're in a descending pattern, but we see price start to get less volatile, meet with that resistance and support, then you see that huge volatile move up to that 64. So this stock is no stranger to these very big moves up, big moves down, as well as periods of time where price action kind of dries up. But overall, price does like to stay quite volatile, as after we got that leg down, after some weeks, guys, we get that leg up, trend back down, get another nice leg up, and we see a sharp sell-off. So we still are in a relatively volatile period of price. And if buyers really hold and stand their ground here, it's definitely likely that we do see either an ascending profile up to around the top of this range or a sharp move up like we're so used to seeing. All right, guys, now on the daily chart, I want to take you guys back to before we had that big leg to that 35, before we get into the more recent price action. So we were chopping around, guys. We found a little bit of a zone between that 24 and this ascending support. So that ascending support is created, and we end up getting tighter. So the apex that we find ourselves in is that 24 to that 22.49. And we chop around, guys. We find that leg up, and we see some volatile back and forth price action. Find the ceiling, right? One top here, come back down, two top here. So we double top and find the ceiling, and we start to create this descending type of pattern, guys. So we have resistance up top, and we have support down low. And so after double topping, sellers really step in here, guys, push to the bottom of this range, and we get held to the bottom of this range. Buyers try to push it back up, but we are in the bottom of this range for the majority, showing that sellers are winning the battle in this descending formation. But then buyers push back up, and we gap up all the way to the ceiling, and we can't hold that, so we get pushed all the way back down. So you see how volatile this really is, but buyers step back in at that floor of 20.83, and we find some more ascending support. So we come up, guys, and we get in this really sharp, tight consolidation range. We come back down, testing that ascending support, and we get in another sharp consolidation range, but this is more of an apex range. So we have a very tight range. So energy is building at an important resistance zone as well as an important support. So someone has to win the fight. Either buyers push this thing up or sellers push it back down. And so buyers win that fight. We get pushed to that $35.89 level. And then just like this price is prone to doing, we see that sharp sell-off, getting another apex-like range. So you could say double kind of ranges here, guys. This one right here as well as this one here. Buyers try to step in here trying to retest that zone. Ultimately, we meet back with that ascending support, and it can't hold, so we get pushed back down. See sellers push us under it and gap below that, as well as this 29.24, which was an important resistance zone, as you see wicking off a couple times, guys, in this formation. And guys, if you've been following the channel, we have described the bad news that GameStop's been getting. For one, they invested in Bitcoin. A lot of buyers were a little bit skeptical about that, not knowing if that was the best move for GameStop at this point, as well as just not performing well in sales, right? Digital games have continued to take over, and GameStop has been struggling with sales. So that's why we see that drastic gap down and sell off. And given that bad news, a lot of people thought we would be headed back to the floor of around this $18.71 level. You can see in the past, after getting out of this descending wedge-like pattern that led us all the way to that huge move up, guys, to that $64 level. But on the bright side, we find one tap of that ascending support, just hitting it for one daily candle, wicking off that, and we get right back up in this range between 24.45 and 22.49. That's where you see price try to find some ascending support, guys. So we get an ascending profile. Volume has descended after that big gap down, guys, and moved down. It's kind of in a descending manner, and price is tightening up in an ascending profile. We tap that ceiling. We cannot get that. So we retrace back down to the floor. But once again, guys, 1, 2 touch points, and we hold up once again at that $22.49 level, currently in another ascending profile. We could be seeing another rejection at this ceiling and coming back down, just kind of consolidating for some time before either breaking up or breaking down. But we also are meeting back up with this pretty important resistance level right here, guys. So on this retest, we will be meeting with that 24.45 as well as that resistance of that descending formation. Given that we have held up twice now on this $22.49 level, and that ascending support only took us 1 day to get off of, guys, not even 2 days of retesting, just wicking off for 1 day definitely shows that this zone right here is strong and favored with the buyers. And we should be seeing a leg above that 24.45, reclaiming that zone and trying to get back in this larger consolidation zone. We see a lot of chop around this 29.24 and say 25.81 rough level. Lots of chop between that zone, guys. We don't see a whole lot going on between 25.81 and that 24.45. So it's definitely likely that that's more of an exit pathway. And once again, if history repeats itself, just an exit pathway. So we could be seeing a sharp move through those zones, guys. Buyers have been in control on the majority of these more recent daily candles. You see sellers really try to gain that control back. 1, 2 red days with that red wide candle. But buyers do see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 green days in a row. We see a bit of selling pressure, but the day following that, we see buyers gain more of that control, and we are ascending. So definitely looking very probable that we do see a retest of that 24.45. Ultimately breaking out of that and that resistance. And for the bears, guys, watch for that rejection, staying within this range, getting tighter in that range here before either blowing up or coming back down, trying to break through that ascending support. Definitely probable if we do come back down a couple more times, guys, and that 22 cannot hold, could definitely be seeing another tap of that ascending support, seeing if that can hold. And if that cannot hold, then we would be more likely headed to that 20.83. Can't deny that bad sell-off news, but looking at it from a shorter term perspective, definitely looking good for the buyers to get that leg up. All right, guys, now on the hourly, we just see a better perspective of what happened, guys. So we got that drastic gap down. We found that support level on that ascending support, and instead of staying down here seeing if that support will hold, we only tap it on 2 hourly candles, right? And we get that leg back up. We find this ascending support, tap on that 22.49, and we ride this ascending support, looking like we are going to break out. But we get that rejection, try to find that support again, but then sellers break us down all the way back to that floor, and doesn't take long for us to get that bounce. So we find more ascending support, and we are continuing on this in a stair step like pattern. So if it's anything like last time, guys, we trend to the ceiling and see if we can break out of this. Watch for that rejection, as if we reject again, kind of double topping, would definitely be prone to a retest of that 22.49. If that can't hold, guys, that ascending support. So guys, watch that continuation of that ascending support that we have found, and watch buyers start to fill this gap, as this was a very quick gap down. As far as overall move down, about 40%, guys. So we have a lot of room to run if the buyers can continue to remain strong here and start to see some bullish price action. In the short term, we are bullish to see that leg up, but we can't deny this bad news, as if we continue to get bad news, price action on GameStop is going to continue to suffer from the bad news. So when trading GameStop, keep your eyes on news and keep your stop tight, keeping your eyes on these support levels of this ascending support and this 22.49. Let me know your price predictions in the comments below. If you enjoyed and want to see more GameStop videos, make sure to like and subscribe. And as always, trade smart, and I'll see you all in the next one.